everyone, and welcome back to the Tinmore podcast. It's been a long time. I'm joined by Mecca and Milku.
Hello.
I hope you would say like hi at the same time, but you didn't. And we've been on a summer vacation for a too long time.
Yeah.
Yay! The summer vacation that lasted until September.
We were busy, so.
Busy, yeah. And we are reading the what was it called again?
Shooting Star Coso.
Shooting stars. In Danish, it's like the mystical star.
That sounds so much cooler.
Yeah.
It sounds so much more
Cool.
I don't get it.
You don't get much, do you? It was like the easiest joke to understand and you didn't get it. Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. Let's just jump into it, gamers. We can cross that out now. I have said gamers at least once a day.
Yep.
Yep.
That's one too many.
I always thought the saying one too many was like a way of counting. One too many. Okay. Yeah. Who wants to start?
Yes.
Yeet. Yeet. Yeet into the
Yeah.
pages. Yeet into the podcast. Do that, everyone. Yeet your phone. Yeet your computer.
Just throw it out.
Yeah.
Just go yeet, and then you're like, oh crap, I need to finish watching that because we're great.
Then you're just like laying out in someone's gun, like. Because you can't hear it, get it?
And then someone else discovers our podcast, and so yeah, do yeet your stuff out the window.
Oh man, I love
we
this
get
podcast. Yeet your PC out the window. Goodbye.
Okay.
Yeah.
It starts and Tintin and Snowy, they're just walking. Tintin is admiring how nice it is at night, which, considering the amount of danger he's constantly in, you wonder why he walks around alone at nighttime. But anyways, Snowy comments how like it's really hot, and Tintin, he's just like, oh look, Snowy's a shooting star, make a wish. I'd stop wishing if I were you and watch where I was going. And then Snowy immediately runs into a lamppost and even notices. He's just admiring the stars, the constellations and stuff. And he stops, he's like, hey Snowy, look at that big star. That's not supposed to be there. Tintin's like, that's kind of weird, whatever. I'll just call the observatory when I get home or whatever.
Did you notice, like, Snowy, he has, like, thousands of stars around him, so he's like, which one?
Oh, that's a good point. I missed that.
Game theory.
Cute Koso.
Snowy is high on crack, that's why he sees so many stars.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming to my game theory.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
Is the pole actually cracked?
He cracked his head against it.
Oh!
Good one.
Anyways, Tintin calls. He's like, hey, did you guys, like, notice that giant star that's not supposed to be there? Listen, ask why it's so hot, too, because, like, hot dang. And basically they tell Tintin, like, hey, we're watching it. Don't worry about it. Weird, why'd they just randomly hang up on me? And he's like, wow, it's like so hot. What the heck? Window. And he's like, holy crap, that star, it's getting bigger. And so he decides that he's just gonna go to the observatory himself.
It's like kind of a weird thing to just do.
Yeah, like he calls them, they hang up. He looks out the window 5 seconds later and closer, and then decides that he's just gonna go over there himself. Like, what's that going to accomplish?
Yeah.
They're gonna tell you the same thing they did.
Hang up on him.
We're not here. Hang up. And he's like, how does that happen? I'm here in person. And Tintin like rings the bell for the observatory,
Ring ring.
and he looks over at the star and he's like, yeah, it's definitely closer. And the guy opens the door, and Tintin's like, can I talk with the director? He's like, no, the director is engaged. Congrats on his upcoming marriage. That's a joke. But he's gonna get married soon, don't bother.
It's engaged. Does it actually say that?
It does in the English version, yeah.
Oh. In mine it's just
Busy.
like the director's occupied.
And it's the same thing basically, but yeah.
Good point.
So yeah, Tintin gets the door slammed on his face. They hang up on him. But in real life this time.
Yeah.
He's really mad about it. And he just repeatedly is ringing the doorbell. And then the door, he's like, I told you, no one can see you right now. Tintin, he goes, okay, but the observatory's on fire. Great, Tintin, thanks. And this guy, he goes, oh my gosh, where?
Whoa.
Look, over there. And then he goes in and slams the door behind him.
Bamboozled.
This guy's just trying to do his job.
Top 10 master thieves.
Yeah, Tintin is definitely good. He's a bamboozler, that's for sure.
Clickbait.
Yeah. Real life. He's like, it's like super quiet here. That's so weird. And then he's like, oh, there's somebody. Someone's coming down the stairs. And this guy is like, oh, judgment is upon us. Oh. And Tintin's like, He's so confused, and he just ignores it because the guy's leaving. He's just like, about. And so Tintin goes to the top of the stairs, entry, and he's knocking on it. And he eventually just gives up, and he opens the door.
I think it's
He's
kind
like, I
of.
don't have time for this.
I think it's kind of dumb to like knock on a do not enter door and then go in. I think that's the dumbest thing to do when you're around a do not enter door.
He knocks like 3 times, gets irritated, starts knocking more, and then just goes in. Like, honestly.
Yeah, he tries to be polite, but
Maybe
he's
he can't read.
That sign won't stop me because I can't read. This room, and it's like an observatory, obviously. So there's like the giant telescope, and it's like slid back so you can actually look into the night sky like you're supposed to at an observatory. And he sees these 2 guys like sitting at this table. To them, he's like, I'm looking for the director of the observatory. And the guy he's talking to is like, shut up, that's me. He doesn't say shut up because he's not being mean, but crushes him. And they just, silent, don't disturb my colleague. He's like trying to figure out some complicated math. Basically me in math class trying to solve anything.
Just sitting like that.
Like,
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Why wouldn't he use like a calculator? So he's just sitting there calculating in his own brain. What
Because he's
is?
a scientist,
He's a
Koso.
he's big brain.
Big brain. He doesn't need a calculator. So
He's just sitting there. Not even with like yeah.
that face is me when I'm in math class though.
Mega
It's
mind.
like, what's 1 plus 1? And you make that face.
Yes.
Yes.
Big brain time. The director, he's like, while we're finishing, you can look through the telescope. It's definitely worth seeing whatever is up to look through it. And he goes, oh! And it's like, he's so shocked.
Woo!
And it's like this spider shape and a star. And he's like freaking out. He's like, it's horrible. It's so horrible. Yeah, it really is. And Tintin goes, oh, it's so huge. And the director's like, yep, makes sense. And then Tintin goes, oh, the hairy legs. It's so, like, terrifying. And the guy goes, talking about, dude? And Tintin goes, what legs? The one on the giant spider. What do you mean?
What do
And
you
the director's like,
mean?
spider? Is that like a joke or something? And Tintin... like, no, go see it for yourself. And the director's like, oh, you're right, it's definitely a spider. Observation that it is definitely a spider. Thank you.
Yes, if you did, like, yeah, if you didn't know.
And yeah, he's basically just like, oh, it definitely has all the characteristics of a spider. And
He just
And
goes on
stuff,
to, like, search on the
basically.
Wikipedia of spiders.
Here's everything I know about spiders, including their scientific name. Tintin, meanwhile, was like, wow, what a monster, and it's traveling through space. He climbs up further to get to the lens of the telescope, and Tintin's like, oh, I've got the answer. It's actually just a spider across the lens. It's not actually a giant space spider,
Space spider.
which would be interesting, but yeah, space spider. That sounds like a B-level sci-fi movie.
Space spider.
Climb
Space
aboard the
spider.
space spider.
Yeah, it's like this giant ship that looks like a spider.
Yeah.
Snowy's laughing at them. He's like, oh, you're scared of a spider. You're so ridiculous. And then he gets scared by the spider. Snowy's such a hypocrite. Or maybe just not a hypocrite, but like full of himself, maybe.
No.
But yeah, the director, he says to Tintin, oh, and it's just a regular giant star. Said he makes a great observation, and he says it looks like a huge ball of fire. Thanks, Tintin. That's because it is. Them are Tintin, thank you. It's like, it is a giant ball of fire. A vast ball of fire.
Top 10 biggest balls of fires. Number 10, this. I like how he's...
You continue.
Yeah. I like how he's like... he like tries to show how big it is with his arms, but he can't quite reach. So he...
So yeah, the director's like, oh, it's a gigantic massive matter infusion or whatever. That's cool, but why is it getting bigger?
I
Because,
wonder
like,
why.
It's getting bigger, so I'm like, And the director's like, oh, that's because it's heading towards us at like a huge speed. If it keeps coming, then... And the director's like, yep, it's gonna collide with Earth. But that means...
Worlds.
Yeah.
Wait, what's it in English? Der Untergang auf dem Werden. Ja.
Yeah, the end of the world.
What?
I love how it keeps zooming in.
It zooms in dramatically as the guy says, the world's gonna end. And
Oh.
Why
Der
does he keep the
Untergang.
same? Why does he keep the same facial expression?
Yeah.
It's like it's the end of the world, but he has like this neutral face.
like that.
Yeah.
Tintin's reaction compared to the director, because the director's like, "Yep, sure," and Tintin looks like
He looks.
dramatic.
Yeah.
What that face is, but it's so like funny and dramatic.
What? Wait, no. What? You have never heard about world Untergang? What?
But yeah, Tintin looks like he's in some sort of bad drama on TV,
Yeah.
and he just
true.
walked in and someone's dead or something. Which everyone
Cough, cough.
will be, because it's the end of the world.
Shane Dawson. Cough, cough.
Conspiracy.
Yeah.
Conspiracy, why is almost everyone on Tinmore coughing? The guy that the director is with, he comes in with like this giant messy stack of papers. It's like, here's when the world's gonna end. Have fun with that. And so the director, he's like, I know exactly what time the world's gonna end, so I'm gonna be famous until tomorrow when we all die. And Tintin's like, do you think maybe you made a mistake with your calculations? Because, you know, he doesn't want to die. Did? And it's like, you check it. And they throw the papers at him. And he's like, never mind. I'm sure you're fine.
I like how one of the papers said the square root of a plus b plus 3 something divided by 387. I don't know how much that is.
I don't know either.
There's 12 zeros. How much is
I don't know.
Why would they do that? And 0.0005. How would that change anything?
Wait, because they put it there. Questioning their math, Koso.
Yeah.
Then why don't you check it for yourself?
And how was he so like fast to like write all of that stuff down?
Like, you know, it's kind of important, so he's like scribbling it furiously.
I'm doing it. Get it?
One scene in SpongeBob where he's like writing his essay.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm doing it. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Except this one's actually productive, and SpongeBob just wrote just one word.
Well,
good point.
Maybe this guy just like wrote gibberish and whoops, and he just wrote stuff like 3870000000000.0005.
Well, I mean,
I wonder.
Calculations for when the world ends, that he does it accurately and not just writing random stuff.
I wonder how many zeros I can write.
He just keeps writing zeros. That should be about enough. No, add a few more.
There's enough room for a couple more,
Yeah.
and then a 5, because why not?
Yeah.
This number of zeros is satisfying me. Okay, back to calculations.
Yeah, so Tintin, he decides that I'm not gonna check all this relatable, because like that's me getting my math homework and doing it, and then being like, good enough. Okay, well, I'm leaving. And he goes home and he's like, potential dread because the world is gonna end. And Snow runs past him. He's like, "Hey, what's the matter?" And then he turns around. He's like, "Oh crap!" And he jumps up on this lamppost. Rats from the sewers like run past him. It's so disgusting.
Yeah.
Like honestly,
They look like yams or like potatoes.
Oh,
you're gonna have a good dinner
they're green too.
in the sewers.
Yeah, that makes sense. Ew.
Sewer rats. Yum yum.
They're toxic. Yummy.
Just like imagine toxic rats. Hey, you suck, dude! Because they're toxic, you know?
A good one.
Eh.
Just you're gonna eat them. So it's on the table and it's like green. Shut up and don't question it. They were canceled for being toxic. So
Toxic rat, that what they called me in high school.
I mean, it sounds pretty cool. So, or not for like actual toxic rats, but yeah, that. Tintin like climbs down from the lamppost. It's kind of like funny because you know in cartoons when there's a mouse and the lady gets up, like she gathers her skirts and stands on the stool and she screams.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what Tintin did.
Yeah, but this is with toxic rats that will probably
Good
give
point.
him like all sort of terrible disease.
Good point.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, I'm jumping on the lamppost.
Yeah.
So he's like wondering where Snowy is. He can't find him. He calls for Snowy, and then there's like this bang sound, and he jumps. And he almost dies on a regular basis. Fair. He turns around. It's like this car that the tires blew out because it's so hot, and I almost had like a heart attack or something. Holy crap. He keeps looking for Snowy. And he sees Snowy like just in the middle of the street. And Tintin's like, "What are you doing? Come over here." Tintin stops. He's like, "Oh, he can't move. It looks like he's paralyzed." Tintin goes, "Oh, my poor Snowy." And he steps onto the street and his shoes are just covered in tar because the street is melting.
I think that doesn't really add up. I think the like melting point of asphalt is like pretty high compared to that Snowy can just run around.
Yeah. Well, Snowy was running around and then he got stuck in it because it was melting.
You get
Because it's tar.
Yeah, but Snowy has like
Wait.
fur on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Also, it looks like Tintin stepped in a shadow.
I know.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah. Whoops.
Also, his shadow doesn't have goopy shoes for some reason.
Bad comic.
Get out.
I hate it. Yeah.
Shadow's like, "I don't want to get my shoes dirty." And like picks up Snowy. And he goes, "That stupid star, gosh dang it." Passing this crowd, and he's like, "Oh, if only they knew they were gonna die tomorrow." And like, I'd also like to point out that these people, their shoes aren't like
Yeah.
supposedly melting street. Shoes are fine now for some reason.
I like how one lady has a rain roof. No, umbrella. I remember now. A lady has an
She's got a
umbrella with her for some reason.
coat too, which like everyone, they're like their jackets are being held because it's so hot. But this lady, she's like, "No, I'm gonna wear my fur coat.
Yeah.
I paid a lot for it, so."
Yeah, and like her husband is like taking his hat off. Then you know it's serious.
And there's like a bunch of people in their pajamas too. Like they just
Yeah.
They're just like,
that one lady's like, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die looking beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she's just mad and she's like, how dare you disturb my sleeping cycle?
she's like, how dare you be hot when I'm trying to wear my fursuit or
She's just sleeping with her fursuit.
say fursuit.
Yeah.
Fur coat. I'd be very concerned if there were furries in this comic.
Oh god.
Moving on from furries.
Also, isn't okay if the street is melting? Shouldn't it be like if it's that hot? Shouldn't they like, be panicking more?
Like they're just mildly annoyed or confused.
Yeah,
Don't
it's like, how
don't
hot is it?
question Tintin's adventures.
Oh, okay. Let's move on then.
He's been hit in
I'm
the
not
head
gonna
with
question
like 20 million kinds of weapons in the head, and he's completely fine now. Don't question.
That's
Should
true.
have been dead like 10 times, but we're gonna ignore
Yeah.
that, so.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, they hear like this gong going off, and Tintin's like, what the heck? And he turns around, it's the guy from earlier. I have to repent because the world's gonna end. And then he's crazy, so he's like, I'm a prophet, and tomorrow.
No,
And
it's Prophet Philippolus. That's what they called me in kindergarten. Philippolus.
Philippolus, later known as Toxic Rat.
Took a turn.
Yeah. We're gonna call this guy Philly because I don't feel like doing the whole thing. So, anyways,
Philly.
we can't do Phil because we already had a Phil.
Yeah, we should call him Dr. Phil.
Yeah. That was no, maybe that wasn't Broken Ear.
I think it was. No, it was Cigars of the Pharaoh?
Yeah.
The Cigars of the Pharaoh. There we go.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
because he's concerned. Because Philly's. And Tintin goes, why don't you go home? You'd be better off, like, in bed. Philly goes, do you hear that? He's going up against me, so he's evil. I'm gonna try and some of what he says like PG because he doesn't exactly have the kindest words to say about Tintin. Repeat that stuff. So
Wait,
yeah.
as in the devil's like
That stuff. We're gonna brush past that and just say that he's calling Tintin evil.
in
So
the Danish comic on mine, he just says Bissel Bobs.
He says
Uh,
something like that in the English too, but
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
he does.
When we don't
Yeah.
want to get demonetized, even though we're not even monetized.
we're trying to keep it PG anyway. So we'll have to cut that part out because yeah.
Goodbye. We hate our viewers.
Yeah,
I'm
don't
gonna take
swore.
the clip out of context. Just I hate our viewers.
Let's put that in the end. We hate our viewers.
So yeah, Philly is like, go back to where you came from, you evil.
Person.
Tintin's like, oh crap. He looks so tired and exhausted.
And like how he just has a pan and like a spoon. He just chases him. Calls him awful words.
Imagine being chased by some crazy old dude, banging a spoon on a pan, just like proclaiming the end of the world,
Just shouting at you.
just shouting at you, following you.
It's like
That'd be something else, wouldn't it?
he's like fighting like or like he's like been in war like in Vietnam. Now he's just like old man shouting at people.
And with pot and pan,
Yeah,
or just pot and a
And-
spoon.
and like covered in like what is that even?
It looks like he just threw his bed sheets around.
Yeah, or blankets or
or
something.
whatever. Yeah, only Tintin just saying that the end of the world is coming, and Tintin goes, "Gosh dang it, this guy's annoying me." He's like, "Oh, finally we're at home." Windows to look at the star, and he goes, "Oh man, it's so bright." And then he's like, "Ow!" It got so hot that it burnt his hand, and he's like, "Hmm." And he turns around and Snowy's like panicking. I feel so bad for Snowy because like,
Yeah,
aw,
he can't really do anything.
Snowy's like so exhausted from the heat. But Tintin's like, aw, I'll give him a little water and stuff.
That is a
Dog and he's
lot.
yeah, just dumps half of a jar on him.
That's not even a jar.
Jar.
That's a vase or something.
This carries a vase.
A vase full of water.
Yeah.
And that thing is like half Tintin's height. Like
It's like a meter high, like vase of water.
it's like over knee high.
Yeah.
It's so big.
We shouldn't encourage
Yeah.
and we don't encourage any math teachers to like do any like calculate the total mass of how much water this vase contained from Tinmore podcast of the shooting star.
Yeah, no math. No math. No math.
You will get fired.
You go to the observatory and do your math.
Yeah, we will set this guy after you. Ding, 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 ding.
But yeah, Tintin, he's like talking to Snowy. He's talking to his dog and going, "Wow, can't you understand this? The end of the world is so crazy."
Whoa.
Drowning his plant with the water, and he hears like the gong outside. He goes out the window, and it's that Philly guy, and he's like just shouting at Tintin to go back to where he came from. And so Tintin just dumps the rest of the vase of water on this guy.
Maybe he thought
I
he
love-
was a plant as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love moments like this where Tintin's just passive aggressive about stuff. Like it's so funny.
Yeah.
I
Just
know.
pours water on an old man.
Yeah, it's like so funny because normally Tintin's like portrayed as this
Nice
kind
guy.
of person, and then he's just dumping water on this guy who's annoying him out the street.
You know what? I would do the same if it was the end of the world.
Just pour some water on an old man.
No. Well, also, plus
Just,
it's
like,
the
take
end of
a
the world, so
bucket.
like do whatever you want, you know.
Yeah.
If it's the end of the world, I would do that just because I would know that I'm gonna die.
Yeah. Well,
Inspirational quotes by Milky.
Pour water on old men before you die.
Wiki how
There
to get how to get rid of people. Pour water on the older generations.
I mean, to be fair, the guy was kind of harassing Tintin, so
Yeah.
valid.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, Tintin like closes the window. He's like, "Gosh dang it, I hope he leaves me alone now." And he's like, "Okay, I'm tired, so I'm gonna go to sleep." He doesn't even go to his bed. He goes to a chair in his living room
Yeah.
and just passes out in it. Like
It looks like a really comfy chair, actually.
it does. So like I guess it's valid that he's sleeping there
Yeah.
instead of his like he's actually falling asleep. Like that's just so cute. I don't know why, but it is. So So like Tintin, it looks like he's going to sleep, but then he hears the sound of a gong, and he's like, "What the heck?" And Philly's in his house.
Broken in.
The water allowed him to teleport.
Oh no.
Oops. And if you pour water on old people, they'll just break into your house. So
Oh no.
Tintin obviously he goes, "How'd you get in here?" The guy's like, "Prophets come and go as they please." And Tintin gets so mad. He's like, "I don't know how you got in, but I know for sure that you're getting out." And he's like, "Get out!" And the guy hits him on the head with like the
Spoon.
mallet that he's using.
Yeah. Basically a spoon.
Yeah, the basically spoon. He hits him with the basically spoon. He's like, "You sit down. Look at what I brought to you." And Tintin unrolls it, and it's just this picture of a spider. "Behold the judgment of the enormous spider."
He just plays on like his whatever it is, his instrument. He's just
He's
so
playing that pan.
better than anyone ever did. Top 10 musicians.
Yeah, if only he wasn't crazy.
Yeah, I like how on like the poster the Philly had it says natural size in the bottom right corner.
Oh yeah, it does.
It's like a giant spider.
Or in Australia.
Yeah.
But yeah, it turns out that Tintin was just dreaming, and he's like, for this guy to get out. And then he wakes up. Clock is going off. And just like, "Oh, I was just dreaming. Oh, thank goodness." Clock woke him up and stuff. And also Snowy, he's like so confused because Tintin is just screaming in his sleep, and Snowy's like, "What the heck is going on?"
Maybe he should pour some water on him.
Right?
Yep.
Tintin's like looking at the clock. He's like, "Oh, I guess there's only 12 more minutes to live, so that his clock is like behind or something, but I'm not exactly sure because what he says is, "Now I come to think of it, my clock loses."
What?
Oh. Wait, what?
In the English version, he says a sentence that doesn't make sense.
Mm.
It's
The
like,
clock
now I come to think, yeah, my clock loses.
Oh. In Danish, it's like the clock is going slow. Too slow.
So maybe what he means is just that his clock's behind or something.
Yeah.
He is trailing off, so maybe he just stopped talking in the middle of a sentence.
It loses.
The clock loses, but then he breaks off because the world's gonna end.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like, "Let's dial Tim."
Tim?
Yeah, I think it's an abbreviation for something though, but I don't know what it is. So
In Danish, it's like Mrs. Time. And it's like an actual website. Mrs. Time.
yeah, so maybe because it is all capital, so it's probably just an abbreviation for something. But I don't know what it is, so
I'll dial up Tim!
I'll dial Tim and check the time.
He just calls his neighbor. Hello, Tim, what time is it?
But yeah, he's calling Tim because his clock is losing and stuff. And it's like almost time for the world to end, whatever. And then like earthquake or whatever, and Tintin goes, "Oh no, it's the end of the world!" Like his apartment, the walls are cracking and the windows have broken. Stuff. And Tintin, it's kind of funny because he just has his hands over his ears.
He's not really
They're
doing
dead.
anything. Yeah.
He's
just,
kind of like he's accepted it. He's like, "Oh, we're dead."
he's just standing there.
And he gets hit in the head with like plaster that's fallen from his ceiling. He gets hit in the head so many times, I swear.
Should I take over?
Ted.
Okay. All I heard was Ted. I suppose that was a yes.
Same.
Ted.
Ted!
Tim!
Tim!
Wait, maybe the writer just forgot to write time, so he like forgot the E, so he just said Tim.
Why is Tintin calling time to check the time though?
So he could see like.
Hello, my
Was
name.
Was he told when the world would end?
Yeah.
8:12 or something.
Yeah.
Okay. So Tintin, he's like, oh, we didn't die. Whoa, it's a miracle. And he like calls to the observatory and hello. No, mind the tone instead. And then he goes out on the street and like everything like totally destroyed. And there's a guy like cutting his beard stuff out in the street somehow. Or like
Well, because they had just woken up and they went outside because there was an earthquake and they're like, what the heck?
yeah.
So, isn't it funny how Tintin's happily running through these destroyed streets, just going, yay, it's only an earthquake! And everyone's like, what the heck is he on?
Yeah. Then he goes to the observatory and he's like, here, and he like even before the like security guy can open, he like rushes in and nearly kisses him because he's so happy, and he rushes up the stairs.
I mean, world didn't end also, so.
And like he opens the "Do not enter" door again, and he gets a book in the head thrown in the head by the what should we call the professor guy actually?
We can just call him the director because he's the director of the observatory. So
I will call him Dr. D.
Oh.
Okay. So yeah, the director man, he like chases his assistant guy with books. I don't know why, and he like calls him like paperhead and can't do anything person. I got B plus in English. Trust me.
In English, it's bungler and dunderhead that he calls him.
I prefer can't do anything person.
Me too. That's funny.
Yeah, and Tintin's like, what he's done? And the director he says, he calculated incorrect. That fool. The meteorite passed over us at 45,000 kilometers. Instead of hitting the Earth. And hit the Earth the exact catastrophe. Thank you. And Tintin he says, you must wait for another with another one to another time. But tell me, was it just an earthquake? And the assistant here comes like, Mr. Director, Director. He like comes with it like scanning code, I think, with wet scanning code. Yeah.
It's a barcode.
Yeah, barcode. Yeah. And he's like, this is right now. This has been like made right away, I guess. Isn't it amazing? Don't you think? It is amazing. It is big. It is weird. And they like go and dance because it is so incredible. And he goes on like the director goes on and tells, oh god. It is revolutionary. It is fantastic. My dear friend, I have made a groundbreaking discovery. I have made a brand new metal. A metal that is unknown to man. You do know what a spectroscope is, right? an instrument that can make us be able to analyze a star and see what materials it is made of. Even though we haven't isolated or seen them on Earth. This right here is a spectrogram of the meteor. It has right now been passed. We've seen it. Each of these codes, bars, thingy, characterizes a metal, and the lines in the middle come from an unknown material that exists in the meteor. Do you understand? Yeah, yes, I do. And then Professor D calls himself, I am the Hippolytus Callus. I think we should call him Callus from now on.
Okay, we can call him
Not
Callus.
Dr. D. I have realized that is kind of dumb. And I have made a brand new material. I will call it Callustanium. Callustanium?
He has a different name in the English, so I don't know.
It will be called Callus. Yes.
He will be called Callus.
And I like how he just standing there smiling, like shaking Tintin's hand. He's like, "Ee." And he turns to Tintin and says, like,
making a different expression.
"Do you like caramels?" Or like green caramels? And Tintin says, like, "Well, yeah, I do." Then Callus tells his assistant to go down and buy 2 franc caramels. My discovery needs to be celebrated. You're asking me about an earthquake. It has been made by a piece of the meteor, I guess. And as soon as it fell, and as soon as we know where it has fallen, we know where we can find Callustanium, the Callustanium thing, I guess. Yes.
I go with that.
Yeah. The polar station of Cap Norris on Greenland north coast is saying that the meteorite has landed in the Arctic Ocean. Some seal catchers, fishermen, saw an fireball flying over the sky and disappearing in the horizon. Few seconds later, a powerful and shaking Pakistanian? Wait, no. And the packed ice made cracks. I don't know how I got that to Pakistanian.
Well, they both start with P, Palestinian and packed ice. There you go.
Yeah. Shout out to all the Pakistanians not having to cough entire winter. And the Callus, he's like, oh no, it landed in the ocean. It is going to be eaten by the waves. And Callustine cannot be found. Ooh, I am so sad. Now Callus became an alcoholic the rest of his life because he got so sad. Anyways, material. And Tintin and Snowy, they're just leaving without even saying goodbye. and there's like this like giant water thing pipe. No, like water puddle.
Yeah.
Tintin doesn't want to get wet, so he steps on floating bricks. Makes sense.
What it is?
Hmm?
I think it's that they're on the ground and it looks like they're floating.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. And Tintin, like, he falls. Then he realizes his groundbreaking discovery. He takes a brick, and he drops it in the water, and it flows up again. Do you see that, Snowy? That I call Tintinium. He doesn't say that.
That'd be funny.
No. And then Tintin, he rushes in, and he's just like yelling, "The brick! The brick! The brick!" to the director man. Because he finds the bricks so fascinating. And he can understand. Oh, wait. Yeah, the meteorite and the water. It's like, floating. Because, yeah, bricks did so.
Yeah.
It must have changed, like, the earth, like, so much that the rocks can now float.
I think it's that they're so big that part of them is going to be sticking up out of the water.
Maybe there's like an air pocket inside those bricks.
Maybe there are
Yeah.
AirPods inside them.
No, I didn't say AirPods.
Same.
Maybe there's AirPods inside the brick.
Yeah. Again, Tintin, he rushes into
The bricks are actually like plastic or something, and that's why they're floating.
Yes. Plastic bricks, that's what we need. How to combat plastic in the oceans. And he rushes into Tintin rushes into the observatory, and he's like, Callus, I have made a groundbreaking discovery, just like you. The meteorite that hit the planet, it's big, really big. Am I right? Yes, it is extremely big. So big it could give an entire earthquake around the Earth of earthquake. But if it's so big, it is going to like be over the waterline. Ah, yes, you are right, my dear Tintin. Calistanium will be found, and we must research about the fallen meteor. I will create an scientific expedition, and I am sure that the project will be financed. What? Financed.
Yeah.
Big brain. By the scientific European study shows. Yes. We must execute right now. Will you help me, Tintin? Yes.
You made it sound like Tintin was like scared of going, yeah.
Okay. Sometime later in the radio. A scientific expedition with a groundbreaking European scientific men will, in a short amount of time, take the journey, go on a journey to the Arctic Ocean. The goal is to find a meteorite that recently hit the area. And that hopefully is reaching over the water and the ice. With them, an expedition leader must be Professor Callus, who discovered the meteorite. And the Swedish, close enough to Denmark. And the Swedish scientist Erik Björkenskjöld known for many cool things, and Senor Porfirio Bolero Ucaleras from University of Salamander, and Herr Dr. Otto Schulze from the University of Jena. Jena?
It says Munich for me.
Munich, we'll go with that. And Monsieur Paul Continue from the University in Freiburg.
It says Paris.
I mean, are we even reading the same book?
Vaguely the same book.
Freiburg and Paris. Like, come on.
I mean, we could probably ignore these guys because I don't think they're very important.
No, they're important. All of them. And Senor Pedro Joas dos Santos, known as a physician in the University of Coimbra.
The same.
Okay, thank God. And the young reporter Tintin, who will represent the press, and Captain Haddock, our good friend, comrades. Oh no. Oh God. Leader of the ASS. who will command the ship Aurora.
Okay, hold on. Can you go back to that? Because in the English version, it's Society of Sober Sailors. What the heck is it in Danish?
It's like, I don't know what that word is. What it even means. Afholden. What? Like holding back, like sea folk, like a connection of sea folk holding back. Yes.
And so,
Hello, I am the leader of the ASS.
They just let that slide, just like, yeah, that's it.
they probably didn't realize.
Just like, yes, I am a member of the ASS. I am a member of the AS. Okay. Yeah, okay.
I'm part of ass.
I'm the leader.
I am the leader of the AS. Okay, yep. Okay. 3 months later, Aurora is about to set sail.
3 months?
That says days.
It says days in the English.
Maybe the Danish people are not used to being so fast at actually doing something.
They're like, yeah, we need 3 months to plan something this big. And then all the English speakers are like, no, 3 days. That's good enough.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, 3 months, days. Tintin is like, okay, it's time to go on board Aurora and do stuff. I will sleep aboard tonight before the trip to the Arctic Ocean. And Snowy says, I am not looking forward to the expedition. It is going to be cold. And then
Valid.
And then we see like this big cinematic shot of the Aurora ship thingy. Tintin, he says like this weird guy, like, ooh. He like goes down the stairway thingy, I think. Stairway, like ramp. And he like runs for some reason. Yeah. And Tintin, yeah, seems sketchy. And Tintin runs to stop him, but he trips over a rope. Stop! Stop!
He trips over a rope.
Yeah, and then like it's like not even a, like, you know, like
It's
It's
not
a
even
limp
like tied
rope.
To yeah.
You can say that. He goes back on the ship, and he's like, he talks to this like weird guy, and he asks him, are you gunning the ship? Yes. Have you seen a sketchy man around the on the deck? No. Is Captain Haddock aboard? Yes. And he says, that was he was a very chatty guy. Yeah. No. Yes. No. And Tintin is like, where is Snowy? Snowy? Snowy! And Snowy has found some dynamite. Like,
yeah, it's supposed to be dynamite, but like very cartoony dynamite.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's what it's like in real life. I don't
Yeah.
know, but it's very cartoony looking.
Yeah. Knock, knock, come in, says Mr. Captain Guy.
Captain.
Yeah. Wait, we have met the captain before, right? Yeah, we have. Yeah, okay, short-term memory. Yeah, Tintin tells about the sketchy guy. And Snowy's like, there's some dynamite on the ship. And they rush over and see that Snowy has been such a good doggo and put out the dynamite. Yay! And
Woo.
Tintin uses his detective skills. Someone is trying to blow up the ship, or something. Someone has like very buttery hands, slippery hands. And the captain here goes and says, if I can get my hands on that guy, he's going overboard. This must be solved. And then he sees a shadow. Wait, no. He sees like a guy standing in the corridor. And he's like shouts, "You're not getting away, you bastard!" Or like, yeah. Now I have you. Now I got you in my sight. And he like says like, terrorist and sabotage man. I don't know if I could say that. Could I? Swore.
Swore. You know what I just realized?
What did you?
Peed on the dynamite.
You think?
Hmm?
Snowy peed on the dynamite. No, he really did.
I mean, it's possible.
Oh
I guess,
yeah, Tintin actually says, yeah, it was Snowy, of course. It was him that, you know.
Yeah, because Tintin's like, he did his best. So that just means he peed.
Yeah.
I've never caught that before.
Yeah.
Same.
Oh no.
Okay. This is going to take so long. Okay. Yeah. So the captain, he's like, whoopsie doopsie, it's the Professor Man. What do we call him? Callus?
Yeah.
Yep, Callus. And he's like, oh, let me introduce myself. Let me introduce him. This is Captain Haddock. We are very sorry. Many times, we have right now realized that someone's trying to blow up the ship. Whoops. A sabotage thing. Yes.
Saboteur.
Yes, it is a piece of dynamite on the deck. Luckily, Snowy's something who destroyed it. Ding 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 ding. It is the bell, and I don't think it is the other guy. Tintin like asked the very chatty guy, "Have you removed anything from the deck?" No. And the captain, he like rushes up to the cabin steering thingy, and he's like, "There's nobody," because the bell like dinged, and then Professor.
Mind if I take over here?
Yeah, go on.
One of the professors, he's like, "I'm here to speak to the captain," and Hedek's like, "That's me. I'll come down." And then they hear like this bang, and they're like, "What the heck?" And they turn the corner, and the professor got like hit in the head by a luggage thing, sprawled over to the side, and this guy's like unconscious. And they go up to the professor, and they're like, "Oh no, what happened to him?" Maybe he tripped over the suitcase. It's smashed to bits. And Tintin says that the guy's alive. Up a Haddock, he's like, "Wait, that's my suitcase. I left it in your cabin." Which is kind of weird. Like, you'd think Tintin would leave it in his own cabin, but...
Yeah.
Professor, like, wakes up, and they're like, "Can you tell us what happened?" And he's like, "I don't know, something just fell on my head." Laughing. And they turn around up in, like, the, I want to say crow's nest, but that's for pirate ships, so I really don't
I think
know
that's
if
the
it's
crow's nest.
actual ship.
I think
The
it's
crow's nest.
yeah.
Barrel.
The barrel.
Barrel.
It does look like a barrel.
Can you make that?
Yeah, it does.
Can you make that into like a MP3 mecha, just where Milku says barrel? I want that as
Yeah.
my ringtone. Barrel. Barrel.
I can do that.
Me when I see a barrel.
Barrel.
Me when I see my friend Barrel.
Barrel. And barrel.
When I see a bear rolling, barrel. Do you get it?
Yeah. Barrel. When your pet bear doesn't want to roll. Barrel.
Buddy, Melku. His head is like a coconut.
Please leave that name on the Tumblr account. Just out of context before the episode goes up.
His head is like coconut.
Why is that funny? I don't understand.
His head,
I don't know.
because you described his head like a coconut.
We aren't gonna finish this.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move on so we can finish this in a reasonable time. But yeah, they're like, "Oh, that was close. Good thing Tintin's head was in the way to save us." Tintin's trying to get the guy to come down, and he's like, "You'll never get me down!" And he climbs higher. This guy's gonna, like, end up dying because, you know. He's like, "Okay, let's be sensible. Come down, because I'm also coming down. So, you know, go down, return to where you came from, you whatever." I don't know. But yeah. "Please, Philly, it's me, the director. Don't you remember? We worked together. Come down, I beg you." Like, dramatic. You know, like in the movies, like, "I know you're in there somewhere" type stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, why is he so emotional in this book?
I don't know. The director looks like, I love the pose when he's
He's not
funny.
called a director, it's called Cash.
He's like, "Boy."
See, if you don't come down there right now.
Boy.
Boy. Yeah, so I'm not callous. You took his shape, you fiend. And so Haddock tries to get him down. He's like, "I command you to get off this ship right now. I order you to come down right now." And Philly's like, "I take orders from nobody except from above, so I'm gonna stay here." And Hank's like, gosh dang, I'm gonna have him arrested for this. I know how to get him down. So he comes back with like a horn, and he pretends to be like an angel, his guardian angel speaking from heaven. And he's like, yeah, you should like return to Earth and be careful not to break your neck. Okay? And then he gets down and arrested.
What?
Wait, I don't think he gets arrested, does he?
Oh, they put him in a mental hospital
Yeah.
that he escaped from. My bad.
In Danish,
The next,
it says, the weirdo snuck out from the room, and in Danish that's called the anstalt, and I thought it said asphalt.
he escaped from the ground when it melted.
He snuck out from the ground. Catch him, boys.
We can't let them know
Vibe check.
that people exist. But yeah, it's the next morning. That incident is done now. So it's the next morning, and there's like this huge crowd to see the Aurora leave. And, you know, I'm not going to bother telling everything that this guy says.
I got to. The traveler's time is near, dear listeners. And in a few minutes, the ship Aurora will leave us and set north to the Arctic. In this very moment, a little ceremony is occurring. The people of Air is right now arriving to give their leader, Captain Haddock, an important flower thing. Goodbye.
Basically, it's just like, oh, look at all these important people getting on the ship. And they're also given like a flag to put on the meteorite when they get there. Oh, saying. Yeah. So this guy runs down the gangplank and he's like, Captain, which I just got. And Jensen sees this. He's like, something weird's going on. And it turns out that for the Aurora picked up a signal that was intercepted by accident, and it's like there's other ship, the Perry, I don't know. Maybe it should be Peary.
Yeah, Peary.
Yeah. Anyway,
Peary.
there's this other.
I have a dairy allergy.
When this goes missing, where's Perry? You'll only get this joke if you watch Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah. So the Peary is another ship from. So going to go out to the Arctic waters to try and find the meteorite first. And it's like, they've gotten ahead of us. They'll take the meteorite before we do. And Tana's like, I haven't found it yet. So we still have a chance. And Captain's like, he's right. Let's get your butt on the ship and let's go. Off. And, you know.
Toot toot.
Is funding the Peary are listening to this. Good luck to those guys. We're gonna get there first. And the guy sitting next to him is like, aren't you afraid they're gonna like get there before us? And the first guy goes, this bank financed the Peary, so there's no question of failure here, dude.
Dude. Dude. Yeah.
But yeah, they're like basically, we've got everything. We'll make sure they don't get there before us. To make a long story short, like 3 panels of exposition short.
Yeah.
So then it cuts to Tintin and Snowy on the ship. Like, almost Titanic pose.
No, yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Titanic flute music stops. Wait, starts.
Yeah. So Tintin's like, isn't this fresh air nice? Yeah, you can smell the fish. I don't know if that's supposed to be like a positive thing or not, but
I think that would be a great like kindergarten like way of saying goodbye. Smell the fish.
yeah. Just next time you are leaving someone, you're like, well, smell the fish, and they're like,
It, like throws a fish at them and then smell it.
yeah,
Maybe like an insult too, like kiss my ass, smell the fish.
yeah.
Could be.
Like breathing deeply that fish air with water, and he's like, yeah, never mind, I'm gonna go away somewhere else. Tintin is just going around like the ship, and he sees the seaplane that will a meteorite, and Snowy sees like this open door next to them, and here, and it's the where the guy's making food. Guy leaves, or he like turns around. He's like, "Okay, you can announce lunch." And so lunch is announced, and Tintin is sitting at the table. He says, "Where's Snowy? I haven't seen him." They get their food and potatoes, and Haddock's like, "Where's the like sausage that was supposed to go with this?" And they're like, I don't know." And it cuts to Snowy having eaten all of them.
Mm.
After that, it shows the ship is like, obviously having a difficult time because it's rocking back and forth so much. It was like sick. and, and Tintin, after they all leave because they're getting sick, he says, "Don't worry, they'll find their sea legs in a day or two." Or no, that's Haddock, I think, that says that.
Yeah. Imagine just eating like mashed potatoes for lunch.
Yeah. Lunch, I suppose.
Yeah.
Depends on what kind of mashed potatoes. Anyways, that night, Tintin is like, "Oh, it's impossible to sleep. It's like terrible." And the bank guys are like, "Do you have any further news of the Kentucky Star? What
What is?
that's about right now?"
Yeah, I think the Perry is renamed to the Kentucky Star. Game thing.
If they call it that later,
Yeah. Question mark.
I think
Maybe they have to.
I think maybe it's.
Yeah.
But yeah, the bank guys are just asking about a ship they don't have news on. And Tintin gets out of bed. He's like, "I think I'll just go join the captain on the bridge and stuff." He puts on like a raincoat and a rain hat. And like he hits his head on the because the ship like tilts to the side, and so Tintin's like thrown into the wall, and he hits his head again. And he gets out onto the ship, like outside, and he's like, "Holy crap! It's like so stormy out here." Wave washes over the deck, and Tintin washed away, and Snowy very almost gets washed away, and Tintin just barely managed to grab him by the tail, which looks like it would hurt.
Yeah.
But
A lot. Guess it's better than drowning.
point.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tintin, the captain's like, isn't this a nice little breeze?" And Tintin's like, "Are you serious?" The captain's like, "Yeah, it's not that bad." And Tintin's like, "Oh, so we aren't in any danger then?" "Not at all." and then they almost get different ship, which probably is the Kentucky Star.
Yeah.
So, because this ship doesn't have the lights on, so they can't see it because it's storming. The Aurora just barely manages to like escape, and Captain's like screaming at them. Lunatic, he almost killed us.
Tintin's like, saved.
He's like, woo, thank goodness.
And the captain's like the opposite.
I know. Tintin's just kind of calm. He's like, oh, okay. And the captain's just over there screaming at this guy. Captain's like, oh, that idiot almost killed us because he didn't have his lights on. And Tintin's like, don't you think that was the point? And Captain's like, what are you talking about? Well, someone's already tried to sabotage the Aurora, so, like, you know, maybe they tried to kill us again. It's like, oh, you're right, but who would do that? And Tintin's like, I'm pretty sure it's the Peary. Because who else would it be? Back to the bank guys, and they're like, oh, so we do have news from the Kentucky Star this time.
Oh, so the Kentucky Star was the sabotage thingy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the ship that almost ran him over.
Yeah.
But yeah, they get the message that they failed to kill them, and the Aurora and all the like doctors and stuff, they're sick. Like sits up in bed and is like, "Ah, I'm just gonna open the window for some fresh air," and then he gets soaked because the water gets in, you know. And that's not important because we cut to some days later.
Yeah.
Tintin's like walking out onto the deck, and he slips, and it's so funny looking.
Yeah.
So Callus goes up to Tintin. He's like, "Didn't you notice that it froze last night? You better put on something warmer." And Tintin's like, "Yeah, guess you're right. I don't want to freeze to death."
Yeah.
Then Callus also like slips on the ice. It's so funny.
Yeah. They all like fall like over each other, over themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He comes out. He's wearing like this yellow fur coat, and it's so funny.
Yeah.
I know.
And Snowy's really proud of his new outfit too. He's like, "I'm gonna cause a sensation."
Yeah.
It's so cute.
Yep.
You see the captain, and he's giving orders to like send a message out, and it says that they're close to Iceland, and they're gonna be at the port of something I don't know how to pronounce. Landish. So
Akureyri in Eyjafjallajökull.
yep, we're gonna go with that.
Eyjafjallajökull in Fjallið.
But yeah, the bank guys like from the Aurora, because I think they intercepted it or something, and learn that they're gonna be landing at that port, and so their own plans and stuff. The at this port. Oh, are we gonna be staying here long, Captain? Captain's like, no, don't worry about it. We just gotta get some oil and stuff. Go to get the fuel fine until he mentioned the name of the ship. And then the guy's like, oh, any oil in stock, sorry. And the captain's like, are you serious? Like you just said you did or whatever, or something like that. The guy's like, no, I didn't say that, so. And Tintin goes, sounds like they're arguing over there. And Haddock comes out and he's like screaming at them because of course he is. Slams the door and the sign falls on Haddock's head. And Tintin's like, dude, what happened? There's no fuel to be had from them, not a single drop. And Tintin says, well, let's just ask someone else. Because they have a monopoly on oil throughout this country. So we're stuck here. And Haddock's like, yeah, and in the meantime, the Peary can continue her voyage. He like motions with his hand. This guy on accident. And this guy's like, can't you look what you're doing, you idiot? And Haddock's like, me? Well, you're nothing but a... And then they recognize each other. Your handshake thing. And Tintin's so confused. It's so funny. And it turns out that this guy is Chester, who Captain knew for like 20 years. Captain says was a shipmate of his for like more than 20 years. So they know each other for a while.
Yay.
And Tintin, he says, oh, I'm glad you know each other because I thought you were going to kill each other. Oh, man. Tintin's just blatantly like, good, because I thought you guys weren't going to kill each other, so...
I like how it's these grown men doing that, and there's just like a child watching them.
Dancing.
My people.
Excuse me?
No. Never mind. So, yeah. Chester's like, oh, are you waiting to refuel or whatever? There's not a drop of oil in this stupid country or whatever. And Chester goes, they just, like, filled up... They said they were going to fill up my ship, the Sirius, tomorrow morning. Well, then someone's, like, screwing us over. At it, of course, because he's Captain Haddock. And he's about to go beat them up. And they're like, dude, stop. And he's like, no, don't stop me. I'm going to kill those guys. And they eventually do calm him down. He's like... Chester says, you're wasting your time because financed the Peary? It was like this bank owned this oil, so like that's probably why you didn't get any. Gets more angry. He's like, I'm gonna kill those guys. And Tintin's like, wait, Captain, I have an idea. And Captain's like, about getting oil? And then they go into a bar to like talk it over and stuff. A bottle of whiskey and 3 glasses. And Tintin goes, no, none for me, thanks. I'll have a tonic water. Haddock is like, yeah, just give him a tonic water. He's like, oh, I forgot, Haddock, you're the captain of ASS. You don't drink whiskey anymore, of course. Tonic for you too? Sure.
I love how Tintin's laughing at him.
I know, it's so like funny.
Like poor Harry, like suffering from alcoholism, he's just laughing at him.
Tintin's laughing because Haddock got caught for trying to drink whiskey. But yeah, Haddock is like, oh, well, you know what? Maybe I'll take just a drop of whiskey in my tonic. Just, for old time's sake. Chester fills it up to where it's overflowing. And Tintin like looks really surprised as they're all like drinking their stuff, whatever, and Tintin looks so surprised.
I mean, like, he just chucked an entire like wine glass of whiskey.
I know.
He got a good reason.
Shots.
And also
Shot.
shot. But yeah, Snowy's also under the table and he looks so mad.
He's just like sitting in his fur coat thing.
He's so cute.
I know. Also, why it looks like he's pouring the wall in.
Hmm?
Okay, what do you think I said?
Saying that the wine is the same color as the wallpaper?
Yes.
Yeah, it actually is.
It's like they like put just like a.
And it's time to end this part of the episode because we are getting tired. Ha! Interruption 100. The Ursus fled. Goodbye.